But there's a development piece that's critical in their babies, but it's boyhood to manhood and everything that goes in between. We have a saying, kill the boy and let the man live. And that's a real thing. And you're born and you look like your mom and your dad, but when you die, you look like your decisions.
This hire solidified how serious OU is about taking over the SEC. Then you add in Taylor Red, that front office is looking nasty.
You're born and you look like your mom and your dad, but when you die, you look like your decisions. And so we got to get our guys to really value those decisions that you make daily.
Y'all know we got to show our ladies some love. Coach Jenny, congratulations. That Sweet 16 looks lovely. And this is a huge win for the university. Women's gymnastics, y'all be dominating. Y'all do y'all thing. We love what y'all doing. Y'all making the university look great, proving to the naysayers who said the SEC was too tough that OU is as great as we have always been. Then my boy Jalen Hurts, man, I gotta extend this love because I haven't been on here since his Super Bowl win and that Super Bowl MVP that he got. Man, my God, you have continued to knock down obstacles and you're proving the haters wrong. The ones who said that you cannot be an NFL QB, they look stupid right now.
Hey man, it's Coach Bates with OU and I got a word for you. There are 4 points that are joints for dreams. They hold it all together. The first point, pray bolder, dream bigger, work harder, commit more. You got so much more to give. The second point, aim at the moon and land amongst the stars. Never doubt what God can do through you. Point number 3, a cat that wants to develop into a lion must lose his appetite for rats. Step your game up, improve your menu and the venues that you step into. Some places, man, you can't go no more. You got to chase greatness. 4, RATS is an acronym, and it's a reminder for the dreamer that makes their dreams reality. RATS stands for routines are taken seriously. You got to take your routine seriously. You can't be so loose with it and skip it like you got an option to do this or not do this. All right, and then when you flip the script and you turn that word rat around, rat backwards spells star. Rats backwards spells star. So man, go be a star. Don't forget to shine today, but you got to put in the time today. God bless and Boomer Sooner.
In the words of my head coach / DC, strain. You got to strain.
But you also how you do what you do, where you strain them and take them to the edge, get them to learn the value of going to the edge, going to some dark places and take yourself to those spaces and be comfortable there. Like that's a good thing. Challenge yourself, be real with yourself, push, expect more, want more. It ain't ever good enough. And that, again, that's a mindset, it's a lifestyle. And does it resonate with 100% of your guys? No. Can you get guys there and squeeze them to the top? Yeah, if they stay.
That's how we know we're getting bigger and better. Time to attack the SEC the right way. But BV, if I can offer some advice, there's one young man out in Edmond, Oklahoma on that defensive line that I think you really need to go after. You pair him up right next to another Oklahoma prospect, a recruit that is on our radar, and I'm telling you, these 2 young Oklahoma D linemen will dominate the SEC. The first one is Jaydn Battle. This young man rose up the recruiting rankings by having himself a day as the MVP at the Under Armour camp. Y'all just check out this young man's film from that day. The young man got some moxie, he got some dog, and he gonna let you know that he just beat you.
That's a red party, boy!
Maybe I'm just getting a little bit too old and I don't really understand what he meant by it's a Riz party, boy.
That's a red party, boy!
What I do know is that was an attempt to talk his issue and really get under dude's skin. And I love the way he just knocked his hands away even after the play was over with. That is a dog right there. That boy got a dog mentality, an underdog mentality, most importantly. So he gonna come in and work, man. You could be looking at the next coming of Jayden Jackson. And look, I ain't trying to put that pressure all on the youngin', but what I will say is he is somebody that definitely needs to be in this 26 class. Go pick him up. The man's name is Jaydn Battle. He's ready for battle. Go pick him up.
So, and that's not an easy process. All the while, like I said, challenging them and getting them to get in the deep end, you know, be fully immersed in this moment in your life. And this is literally just a vapor. And before you know it, it's over. And I want these guys to come here and get everything that the college experience should be about. And so as some things have changed, so much of it is the same. And the end goal in mind for us.
The second one, of course, is Tahj Overton. And the man put out a top 6. Of course, OU was in it. You got to think that OU is the favorite. I mean, what you never know with young people. They can change their minds with the flip of a hat. But let's just be honest, man. It seems like OU may be the favorite. And if you can land another Oklahoma in-state prospect, it may just make it that much more enticing for Tahj to want to be a part of this class. Say, young fella, Big Tahj, Owasso's colors ain't too far off from OU. Y'all rock a variation of what, maroon? Come rock that crimson and cream. That's where you need to be. Go from the little O in Owasso to the big O out in Norman. You know that boom is sooner. Man, I love this young man's game. His film, he got a lot of knockback when he's coming off of that line of scrimmage. He's very physical in the trenches, and this is a young man that could develop into somebody special for the Sooners. So we need to get him on board. Let me say this though, family. At this very moment, Tahj has to work on his technique. Not saying he doesn't have any, but he's very powerful. And players like him, who are very powerful, like to rely on that power whenever they don't have a go-to move. And I don't see a real go-to move in none of his highlights. Of course, his highlights. And I did go out to catch a game, but it just seemed like he was too dominant for his level of competition. So it seemed as though he just relied on that power. Now, that does not mean that he's slow. He's not slow at all. He has great short area quickness. So the man's burst off the line is next level. And that's what makes him special. That's what makes him special. The mindset, you can see his mindset when he's out on the field. He wants to dominate you. He is a bully. This young man is very, very special. And if you can get him in this class will be nasty. I'm telling y'all, man, this young man has all the tools he needs to be an all SEC player. And I'm not just saying that, I'm saying it because I reviewed the film. And when you see players like this, man, who has burst off the line like that, this young and this strong, the man is a junior going into his senior season. Mix that in with a D-line coach like Todd Bates, a proven developer, he gonna get all the intangibles, all that technique that he need to be special. That's what creates a superstar. Then you factor in Jaydn Battle, who seems to be more of an athlete. His school used him all across that D-line, on top of using him on offense as a halfback / tight end. The man is an athlete. He spews athleticism. These two could be special, and we need them in this class. Now look, family, I don't want to make this a recruiting video because that's not what this one is. But I do want to speak on one more D lineman, even though there's been a lot of top 6s, 8s, 10s that have been flying out with OU in them. We'll speak on those later. But the last dog on that D line that I think it's important for us to get is no other than
Zane Rowe.
Zane Rowe is a 5-star, in my opinion. The class of 2027 prospect, there's no 10 players in the country that are better than him. He has everything that he needs to be a first-round draft pick. The measurables, the strength, the size, the speed, the skill set, the mindset. Let's not forget, family, as a freshman, Zane Rowe went up against the #1 offensive tackle in the nation, consensus and composite 5-star, Michael Fasusi, and held his own. The man plays both sides of the ball at an elite level. Hey, look, he would be a top 50 player in the country on offense, let alone at that edge position where he is a top 10 player in my personal opinion. This young man decided to show up to the University of Oklahoma on his own initiative just because he missed the coaches, as reported by insider Colin Kennedy over there at 247 Sports. Look, like I told y'all a couple videos ago, I believe Zane Rowe will be in this class. Look, he misses Coach Chavis. He misses that DN room. He loves Oklahoma. He only decommitted because he locked it in a little bit too early. And of course, last season didn't go that well. But if we show him improvement and the fact that this coaching staff will be here come 2026, I'm sure Zane Rowe will lock it down and be in Norman as his town and his school. So let's go ahead and get it done, family. We need this D-line class right here to go ahead and make it happen. And I know Zane Rowe is 27, but once again, whatever happens this year is what will affect the next coming years in recruiting.
Zane, as soon as it's knocking.
Deal with it. So how do you do that? Well, man, just continue to be who you've been. Again, be real, be genuine, be honest. Don't compromise your standards. Don't compromise the things that you know it's going to take for him to reach all of his goals. And so that's educationally, getting their degree, becoming a great, strong man through the game of football, having an amazing college experience, being developed into an assassin as a football player, and just being prepared for their life, what that looks like well beyond the game. So start that. Don't change any of that up from the get-go, but know a byproduct of the environment they might leave. And you want to give them the things I'm talking about, things to attach, themselves to other than a depth chart. And I said, don't worry about the depth chart. That always takes care of itself. Create value for yourself by how you do what you do, how hard you work, your sacrifice, your ability to overcome, come back, punch back, all those things we're talking about in the day-to-day, demands and the grind of this environment. And then, so those two things in particular, and but not lose sight of the main thing, and getting their degree.
Real quick, I want to say congratulations to Barrett Travis, the 6'2", 206 linebacker out of Oklahoma, Heritage Hall to be exact. He has accepted a PWO at Oklahoma. He committed to Oklahoma. So show this man some love. I ain't seen nobody talking about him yet. So we gonna show him some love right here.
I'm Barrett Travis, and I'm running back linebacker at Heritage Hall.
I'm pretty sure that Barrett has been picked up as a linebacker, and he's a very good linebacker with over 45 tackles as a junior. But as a running back, that is where he's special. As a junior, he had over 971 yards and a couple of TDs to add to that. But his senior season is where he really stood out and showed that he was special. With over 2,100 yards, 29 touchdowns, and the man literally set school records. If you think about the long history of running backs coming out of Heritage Hall, then you know that this is truly special for Barrett to be the one setting the standard. This is a huge pickup, a really sneaky good pickup that Oklahoma just snagged out of Heritage Hall.
In which he, early on that season took on a lot of responsibility. And then ever since then, he's just grown up and became the, superstar football player and person that he is. But it's fun going back and watching some of that and watching how far he's come. And I really remember last year against Sulphur, I think was when he really turned the corner and lowered his shoulder for the first time and trucked a guy and ran for 195 yards and 5 TDs. And that was just a preview of what was to come his senior year, which was just an outstanding record-breaking season, not only in single game, the Holland Hall quarterfinal game, which was amazing, and the whole season rushing for 2,166 yards and 29 touchdowns, a single season record. is just remarkable. Obviously the stats and stuff are important, but his leadership are what we're going to miss the most. A small group of 5 seniors, and he really took on the role as a leader by example and a vocal leader. And just really proud of the way his senior season and career turned out here at Heritage Hall, and we're going to miss him.
I mean, we got over, half of our roster, making 6 figures plus, maybe 3/4 of it. And that's cool. Great. But guess what? In a very short amount of time, there's a better chance than not that that's not going to be reality.
Barrett Travis could be a really, really sneaky good pickup. You never know. His production in high school proves that he has potential. How many high school football players have over 2,100 yards in a season with 29 touchdowns? That proves that he has potential on top of playing on all facets of the ball. He could be the next Ashton Gentry. As we all know, Gentry was highly under-recruited out of high school, goes to Boise State, dominates, and proves that he's the best running back in 24. So you never know. You could be looking at the next coming of that in Barrett Travis. But at the same time, it's also for the reason that BV just spoke about in that clip that I put there. I put that there for a reason. He told y'all that half the roster, upwards to about 3/4, are making over 6 figures. And we just cannot have that. We all been hearing the reports about Jim Nagy stating that we're not spending a lot on a running back. We just let an alum's son go in Jayden Jones. We also just lost, in my personal opinion, an elite level running back on a recruiting trail because we weren't willing to go up and overboard to match whatever Texas A&M was trying to put up to pull him away from us after he decommitted, after we had a bad season. And DeMarco Murray, there was whispers about him leaving or whatever. Man, hey, look, it don't matter. You can get high-level production from running backs who are under-recruited. For example, Xavier Robinson, currently the one that is looking like he may be RB1, he was under-recruited. The young man put up over 2,000 yards at Carl Albert, proved that he was dominated. He's big back. He proved that he had the skill set, but still, teams didn't believe that. Now you're seeing that potential come out. You've seen it in his freshman year. So, hey, look, you never know what Barrett could be. Don't just write him off. I'm just saying, let's see what the young man brings to the table, even if that's just depth within that linebacker room or that running back room. We're going to embrace all Sooners. Show this man some love, you feel me? He wants to be here. Remember, we want players that want to be here, not the ones that are coming only for the money. We want the ones who really love the program and will give their all. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to make it a recruiting video, but how could I help myself with a talent like this young man right here?
Duece Geralds. Good for 6 for the Eagles.
Javonnie Geralds is a freak athlete at that defensive line position. The man ran track just like EPL. Big boy can move. Javonnie Duece Geralds is a superstar. It's not that complicated. You don't got to think too long about it. The young man is the best defensive tackle in the nation. Watch the film. Just watch the film. When you watch the film, you will see something special, but we're going to get into that. Deuce is 6'2.5", 265. He's extremely undersized, so I understand why these recruiting sites have him ranked so low. He is 161 on 247, 79th on On3. ESPN has him ranked 40th, and on my favorite recruiting site, Rivals, he's ranked number 36. I think they do the best evaluations, and I believe he'll end up being a 5-star on ESPN and on Rivals. But the thing is, with Duece Geralds, this young man is a 5-star, and it just displays itself all on film. You feel me? When you watch the film, you will see that this man has an elite first step, great short area quickness, great power, and most importantly, he plays both sides of the ball, but not in the way that you would expect a trenchman to really do it. This young man plays defensive line as well as being used all across that defensive line. And boy, oh boy, when I say he wreaks havoc on opposing offenses, it's something truly special. But speaking of offense, see now that is what separates Duece Geralds from the rest of his competition. Just like Jaydn Battle that we just spoke about. And the similarities between Jaydn Battle and Duece Geralds is crazy, man. These two players are one and the same. But right now, I would say Jaydn Battle is more of a great value. No disrespect towards Jaydn Battle. He will be an excellent player. But he's more of a great value version of Duece Geralds. But Duece Geralds on offense, he doesn't line up where you expect most D linemen to line up. His coach lines him up in the backfield as an H-back while also putting him on the line of scrimmage as a tight end to catch the ball out in space. His athleticism really pops off film whenever he's on offense because this man has the speed from running track to really bring it home, at least at the high school level. So there's a lot of talent bottled up in Duece Geralds. He has that low center of gravity, very, very elite short area quickness. The man has speed off the line of scrimmage. He has power in his hands. But what makes Deuce truly special is the fact that he has this elite athleticism. That athleticism that you cannot teach is God-given. And whenever someone walks in the room to evaluate players, when you see this young man move, you just know that he's a caliber above everyone else. But riddle me this though, how is it that these recruiting analysts are allowed to get away with claiming that they evaluate talent based off projections, where this high school prospect will be by the time they're ready for the NFL draft, which could be 5 or 6 years down the line? They really start evaluating tough around the junior-senior season. So why is it that when a couple of these prospects come out of small towns like Edmond, Oklahoma and Jaydn Battle, or Owasso in Tahj Overton, or Suwanee, Georgia, in the case of Duece Geralds, they don't get the love for where they will be when they're ready for the draft? Duece Geralds, 265 right now. By the time he's ready for the draft, I'm sure he'll be around 300. Let's just be real. He got 4 to 5 years to put on 35 pounds. I'm sure he can do that. But anyways, though, man, Duece Geralds decided to show up to the University of Oklahoma once again for this is his 5th time, I believe. And, he let it be known that he loved it. Steve Wilfong put out a report when he spoke to Duece Geralds after leaving Oklahoma. And Duece Geralds claimed that Oklahoma is a front runner. On top of the fact that Duece Geralds shared a post from Jim Nagy when Jim Nagy said that story about having an elite prospect on campus who said that he wants a place where older players come back and visit because it proves that that's a family atmosphere. Well, Duece Geralds shared that. A couple of other prospects shared it as well. We don't know exactly who that was that said that to Jim Nagy, but what I do know is it seemed as though Duece Geralds really loved the visit. Of course, we was placed in Duece Geralds' top 10, so half of the job is done. We just got to close it out. Let's go ahead and finish. And we know that Todd Bates is one of the best finishers. And the way that this defensive line will look in 2025 in the SEC, that's only going to give us more favor in the eyes of a Duece Geralds, a Jaydn Battle, a Tahj Overton, a Zane Rowe, a KJ Ford, and one of my personal favorites, I like to call him Jake from State Farm, because he be out there making them boys need insurance the way that they crashing out going up against this young man, Jake Crew out of IMG. That's how we close on them, by displaying that we know how to develop, putting out a good product on the field, and dominating the SEC. Once again, it's a line of scrimmage league, right? So if we dominating on that side of the ball, remember, we will get those prospects in. We'll be able to reload that tool and get the busting back at the SEC again. Originally, Sooner Nation, this video was supposed to be about Javonnie Gibson, number 11, because when Javonnie originally got here, a lot of the fan base was disrespecting the man. A lot of insiders were disrespecting the man, saying, yeah, he got 1,200 yards, but he came from a lower level program. I don't see him doing that in the SEC. Everybody was criticizing accomplishments that this man had going on. Let's just be real. I told y'all, 1,200 yards is 1,200 yards. And if you go watch the film, this young man is special. There's something special about the way that he moves. And 6'3", 220 pounds as a receiver is nothing to frown your nose up at. The young man is special. But with the recent course of events, I felt as though it was best not to put the video out on Javonnie Gibson because, hey man, the wounds are still fresh. I don't want to rekindle open scars. So I feel it's best that we move on towards talent that we could eventually acquire and talent that is already currently on the roster. Get well, Javonnie Gibson. Like BV said, the man should return before the start of the season. But as long as he returns before that Texas game, that is all that this fan base is asking for. Don't try to rush him back too fast. This medical staff needs to redeem itself after the comments that came out with Nick Anderson, Andrell Anthony. Hey man, it's time to prove that your medical expertise, that y'all are ready for the big boy league. It's time to prove that y'all are ready for Division I football at the highest level. Y'all got some proving to do.
Javonnie Gibson's 6'2", 215. He shouldn't be doing backflips like that, dude.
Now, I do love the pickup that we just made in the portal for a backup center, but I do believe we need more depth when it comes to the tackle position, because as much talent as we have at the tackle position, we cannot rely on it. Jacob Sexton, Jake Taylor, seems like they've been hurt since they got on campus. Logan Howlett, currently hurt. Isaiah Autry, currently hurt. We have some young guys that we really like, but they don't have the experience. We picked up Derek Simmons in the transfer portal, him and Luke Belenko. Luke Belenko doesn't seem like he's ready to play at this level yet. Derek Simmons, he has all the experience. He's been a good tackle at lower levels, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because of how many snaps he played and how well he has played in them. But at the end of the day, we still need backup experience. We still need depth. And I think the place that you need to go to get that depth, you can look at that same roster that you're already currently scouting when you're scouting and looking at film on Terrell Davis. UCO, being one of the better programs in Division II, had 3 players in the top 10 for the Division II's top 10 best players. And one of those players on that roster in the interior, I believe, can give us some help and add some much needed depth to OU's roster. And I know y'all thinking, we don't really need help in the interior. Yes, we do. You have to remember, there's a lot of injuries going on right now in spring ball. And if you ask me, the ones who stand out in spring ball are usually the ones who have the better season. So with players like Heath Zida missing spring ball, that could really hurt us come the fall. So let's get somebody in there who seems to have some really good upside, very young, like Montrell Lee, that has athleticism and really moves people, because that's what we need on this offensive line. We need some movers. We need the 2 men in a truck. We need somebody to go out there and dominate, be a Mack truck, and put people on their asses. That's what this offensive line is missing. We need an enforcer, and maybe we might have that in the young talent, Brian Foje, or at the tackle position in Michael Fasusi, but we need some proven vets with some experience, and I believe Montrell Lee brings that. And also, this next player, my last and final value pickup, because I believe Joe Cotton won't be a value pickup. He'll be somebody that you're going to get into a bidding war in a portal for. A lot of the fan base already picked up on Joe Cotton, and everybody pretty much wants him. But the last pickup that I believe that we need to go after is another Tyrell Green, Silverback. This young man out of, I believe he's out of Eastern Kentucky. I can't remember the school, but this young man, after evaluating his film, he can offer you some help in the interior as well. I know he played tackle. It was at a lower level, but after evaluating his game, I believe that he will project better on the inside. The man is, 6'5", 355 pounds. Of course, we got to shed some of that weight off of him, but he was a true freshman who dominated. This young man dominated at Eastern Kentucky and proved that he belongs at a higher level. The young man is a bully. He also had another lineman that was next to him, while I was reviewing his film, number 77. I don't know exactly who that was, man, but that young man could ball too. I don't know if he hit the portal, but if he hits the portal, you needs to be paying attention to him as well. But Silverback is one that I believe Bill Beatonball and the rest of this staff needs to take a look at and try to get a foot in the door in his recruitment. If you can land 2 of these players, then I would sleep well at night knowing that Oklahoma's offensive line is secure going into the SEC. But we still need to add a few more pieces to really talk about being in the national championship conversation. So let's go ahead and talk about a few more. Sooner Nation, if it didn't make sense, the last few prospects that I showed y'all, it's because I had to delete a few because they already committed. Hopefully, they haven't made it fully official and we can still go after a couple. Joe Cotton. But I feel as though Sooner Nation needs another linebacker to shore up that room. And the first one I feel like we should start with is Mr. Shay Taylor, a former Ohio Bobcats linebacker who stands at 6'3", 232 pounds. And the man is one of those linebackers that is truly smart. He knows where to be at all times. Kind of like a Danny Stutzman. Danny Stutzman may not be the most twitchy, athletic linebacker, but he just knows where to be. Danny is always going to get the right positioning, and he also knows exactly what opposing offensive coordinators are going to run before they run it. This is what type of player Shay Taylor is. He knows the offense's playbook. He figures by formations what you are going to run, which way you're going to run it, and what hole he needs to hit. This young man, I wouldn't say, no, he's not a carbon copy of Danny. Danny is on another level when it comes to the football IQ, but he gives you just a little bit of what Danny gives you. When you watch the film, he is always in the right hole. It isn't because he's super quick. He's not slow, don't get me wrong, but he's not super fast. He's just very smart. He's not super athletic. He's just very smart. Now, every now and then, Shay Taylor will give you some flashes of some very good athleticism. That's why the man had 4 pass breakups. But like I said, man, over 70 tackles. The man is a machine. Now, of course, that's not crazy elite, but he's showing you that he knows how to make a play. And that's what type of linebacker you need to give you depth in that linebacker room. And before you naysayers get down in the comment section and say some stuff like, how is he going to play at a place like OU in the SEC when he came from Ohio and he didn't face competition like you'll see in the SEC? The biggest, the strongest, the most athletic offensive tackles and tight ends that he's ever seen, with offensive coordinators who will scheme him out of plays. Well, let me tell y'all this. If this is your 3rd string linebacker behind, I don't really know who's coming in behind Kip, but if he's playing as your 3rd string, this is someone who can offer an immense amount of talent to your linebacker room and take you over the top. Amari Campbell out of North Carolina is another great option to throw in the fold. Another young linebacker with 3 years of eligibility, with over 70 tackles, 6.5 sacks, and a couple pass breakups. This man is another one that you can factor in and have for the long run as well. This young man, or old man, according to college football years, is the most immediate, impactful player that you can receive at the linebacker position out of the portal. Jaydn McDonald is a star, and he will be in the NFL. He is an NFL player with 125 total tackles, 51 solo, 74 assists, 3.5 sacks, and 3 pass breakups last year. So he's showing y'all, he put it on film, that he has the coverage skill. This is an NFL player, like I said, and OU needs to go and get him. Whatever Oklahoma has to do to get him, they better give it to him. This is another Kendall Daniels, but unlike Kendall Daniels, he's proved that he has the production at the linebacker position. He's put that on film. Kendall Daniels struggled last year going from being a safety to becoming a linebacker. It was a big transition for him. Hopefully, he's a lot more prepared for that position this year, especially being under a linebacker guru like Brent Venables. Nate Dryland, a talent at the linebacker position who seems to have a lot of upside, and another really good linebacker developer like Wes Goodwin. Hopefully that helps Kendall Daniels evolve. But when it comes to this young man, Jaydn McDonald, he's already developed. He's already ready to go. You can shoot Kendall Daniels over there to the cheetah full time, and have this young man come in and really dominate, this young man will do his part to help this defense be an elite defense because he has the skill set, the versatility. He has the size, the measurables, the speed, the quickness. He has the hands. He can cover. This young man can do it all. This is one that you need to go and get, and I don't understand why OU has not offered him already. You need help in the linebacker room. I would take at least 2 of these young players. First off, Shay Moore has, 2 years of eligibility remaining. I believe that this is Jaden's last year of eligibility. He was a COVID kid. We all know that they got a lot of extra years. I did read somewhere that he had 1 more year after this one, but that was probably a stretch. He still has 3 years, so he can grow with the young Carl Albert linebacker. They could be a tandem in the future, and whoever you pick up on the recruiting trail this year, next year, and the years to come. Then you also can factor the transfer portal into that, because we all know the transfer portal plays a big part in today's recruiting. But overall, if you do this, you have options. You have the future set, and then you have the present set. I believe this is a no-brainer, and my number 1 would most definitely be Jaden McDonald for this year. My number 2 would definitely be, you can add in another piece like Shay Taylor. Definitely go get him as well. Because once again, Shay Taylor has all the intangibles to really help this defense. The man is a quarterback on that side of the ball. I know we always say that linebackers are the QB of the defense, and they are. But the thing is, not all of them know how to read offenses at a very high level. And Shay has that tool in his luggage. So whoever you get, man, it's a no-brainer. I say go for all 3, but most definitely you need to get Bonner or McDonald. At the cornerback position, I think you have a few options. And the first one is Emmanuel. He was picked up by Miami in a winter portal from Arizona, that Arizona cornerback room that was very dominant between him and Tacario Davis. Emmanuel Carney seems to be the favorite amongst the fan base as of right now in the portal, and I see why everybody sees what they see in him. This young man, once again, was a part of a defensive back room at Arizona that was one of the best in the country. Between him and Davis, they seem to be 2 locked down, no-fly zone corners. But there's some question marks for me when it comes to this young man, Carney. Not saying that he doesn't have everything that he needs to be a great corner in the SEC. He has the size, the measurables, he has it all. He has the speed, the jumping capability. The young man has it all. But the thing that comes to mind for me, things that were left to be desired, was, is Emmanuel Carney really a number 1 corner? Is he a corner that you can put on the opposing team's best offensive player and have him really go out there on the island and lock something down? We need great man-to-man coverage corners who can go out there on the island and lock something down for BV's defense to fully be successful. And I don't know if Emmanuel Carney is a great one. I know he's a good one. I know he's a good option. At the very least, you know, he will give us some depth in a 2 deep coming off of the bench. But I don't know if he's a great option. And for the money that you're going to spend on an Emmanuel Carney, you need him to be an elite on an island by himself type of corner that can make plays. And I don't know if he's that yet, because Davis took over that main wide receiver job at Arizona. So we don't know. But don't worry. There's a lot of good options in the portal that I believe we can take a look at. And one of the other ones is Chauncey Logan, a 6'1" cornerback out of JMU. You look at the numbers last year and you think, why would we go after him? 3 total tackles, 1 pass breakup. What is he going to offer to the University of Oklahoma? But then you take a look at his production in the 2 years prior, 23 and 22, and you realize that is his true talent. Chauncey did not play much last year because he was dealing with injury. But in 23, he gave you 25 total tackles, 21 solo, 4 assists, and 8 pass breakups, 8 pass deflections. In 22, as a freshman, he gave you exactly 22 total tackles, 20 solo, 2 assists, and 9 pass deflections. So the young man shows you, he proves to you that he can lock down one side of the field. If you throw it in his direction, he will swat it away. He will get rid of it. He has the size. He has the measurables. And maybe he may not be a starting corner, but for the price point, you don't need him to be. You just need him to come in and give you some help on those bigger wide receivers that, will really bother a player like Eli Bowen. He can give you that. He has some athleticism. He has some speed, as y'all can see on film. So that won't really bother him in the SEC. We just need him to come in and be a matchup nightmare for opposing offenses, and that's it. But if he can give you that starting caliber type play, then that just sweetens the pot. But we don't need him to be just a superstar. And that's what I'm saying with Emmanuel Carney, is if he does not truly have that, because he had that opposing dominant star opposite of him who could take on those matchups, if he doesn't offer you that superstar potential, then you don't need him because you're going to pay him top dollar. But with a Chauncey Logan, since he had such a down year last year, he's not going to demand nearly as much money. And also the fact that he's coming from a lower level gives you that option of not having to pay him that top dollar that you would have to offer a corner. Y'all get what I'm saying? Y'all get what I'm trying to say? I know I looped that with the way that I was saying that, but I just want y'all to understand that when it comes to Emmanuel Carney, yeah, he has great production. But the problem is he's going to demand a lot of money, and the production that he put out doesn't really warrant the amount of money that he's going to be looking for in the transfer portal. Now, if you can get Emmanuel Carney on a cheaper deal, cool. Hey, more power to the Sooners. But I'd say that these options that I'm finna show y'all, including Chauncey Logan, could be better pickups. Now let's carry on. Before we get into my favorite picks, I want to look at Shahid Barrios at the cornerback position. He is an athlete, but he's been playing corner mostly in college, even though his D2 team used him all across the field on both sides of the ball. He's mostly played corner. Once again, he's 6'2", 186 pounds, so he has the size, the length, the measurables, and the man has the speed. This young man is one of those that you can use, every team can use, because he can be a good return man, as well as, maybe providing you something in that cornerback room. As a corner, what I've seen him do on film is have decent coverage skills and really go up and high point the ball. I think that he may be better projects as a safety if he's going to be a defensive back, but he does have that high point skill where he can go up and get the ball, snatch it from receivers, because that's what he's used to doing. That's what he's done in high school. That's what he's done a little bit in college. So he's used to playing that receiver position. He just knows how to get up and catch that ball. That's all I can say, man. He just knows how to snag it out the air. He has that elusiveness to where he could be a really good return man. He's very shifty. He can make people miss. And if you're going to be a great kick return man, you need to have that elusiveness, that shiftiness, and you need to be able to make people miss. If you cannot, then you will not have nothing in a return game. And I believe that's the problem that OU has been having. OU seems to want to pile too much on their best players. Of course, you want to get your best players on the field. If you can find a great player that is there just specifically for this one thing, kickoff return or punt return, then you take that load off your best players. You won't have a Billy Bowman out there expending so much energy trying to return kicks. You won't have a Peyton Bowen out there expending so much energy and risking injury trying to return punts. We know he was dealing with turf toe, and I believe maybe that could have contributed towards the problem that Peyton Bowen was dealing with last year, him returning those punts. Some of the worst injuries happen on kick return and punt return. People coming downhill full speed and trying to take your head off. That is not a good place for your star players to be. As for my top picks at the cornerback position that I believe OU needs to most definitely target, sophomore, 6'1", 190 pounds, out of Kenosha, Wisconsin. He went to Wyoming College. Keone Parks. This young man is an athlete in every definition of the word.
Oh my God.
Oh wow, yeah, look at that.
As a true freshman at Wyoming, Keani Parks was such a premier athlete that his coach had to start him. He forced his way onto the field, and that turned out to be a great decision because in his true freshman season, Keani totaled 41 total tackles, 34 solo, 1 fumble recovery, and 7 total pass deflections. Ironically enough, he had one of his better games against the team with a prospect that is currently in the transfer portal that we're going to speak about here in a second. But Keani is a premier athlete, and that is a complete failure for these recruiting sites not to notice this young man's talent out of Wisconsin. I understand it's Wisconsin, but Wisconsin produces a lot of D1 and even up to NFL talent. Wisconsin is not a hotbed, but they produce talent. He was such a premier athlete that he ran track, was a long jump champion, played basketball, and most importantly, this young man played football. He could be a day 1, day 2 pick just based off of the measurables, 6'1", and that athleticism.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Does he run track?
I think this kid is nice and could have elite potential. You never know. Bring him in and give him a chance. He kind of reminds me of another prospect already currently on OU's roster in that cornerback room, who also plays receiver. We'll speak on him in a second. One thing about this young man, though, that separates him from the other guy is the fact that he already has 1 full year of starting production under his belt and proved that he can produce at a high level.
Winning the boys long jump with another stadium record from Kenosha Bradford with a jump of 23 feet 2.5 inches. Keani Parks.
It's Keani.
My number 1 option in the portal out of North Texas, Brian Nelson Jr. is a star. Just look at these numbers. 6 foot, 191 out of Pearland, Texas. Gave you 53 total tackles, 45 solo, 1 fumble return, 3 pass deflections, and get this, 4 INTs. This man had 4 picks. He was not playing out there, handling his business at that cornerback position like he was supposed to at North Texas. And I know y'all thinking, North Texas, man, that ain't the best competition. But I'm gonna tell y'all, North Texas actually played decent competition this year. We're not gonna go through it all. Y'all just go look up the schedule on your own time. But I will say this young man has star potential. He was a true freshman and he dominated at North Texas. This is a young man that OU needs to check out because a player of this caliber, a player that is this proven and this young, doesn't normally hop in the portal. This is a player that can change that secondary on your defense. If Gentry Williams comes back, hold on, we'll get into that in a second. Let me not talk about that right now. Point is, man, this guy is special. Check out this play, right? Sooner Nation, even if we can't land superstar potential talents like Keani Parks or Brian Nelson Jr., it doesn't matter because in our cornerback room, we have talent. We have athletes who are premier, like a Jacobe Johnson. And what he did last year kind of went under the radar with the emergence of Eli Bowen, but he gave you 18 total tackles, 16 solo, 2 assists in a tumultuous year where it was a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts, on top of Jacobe Johnson being one of those moving parts. He didn't really know where he was going to play at. I know that he was highly touted out of high school. I know that he is an elite athlete, one of the most athletic DBs in all of college football. But you have to understand, with that man not knowing if he was going to take reps at wide receiver or cornerback, he didn't really have a main focus. Now he knows this year it is specifically the cornerback position. So I'm expecting a big year out of Jacobe Johnson. Jacobe Johnson is one of the players in that DB room that I really look towards, and I think, man, like, this could be a day one prospect just based off of the intangibles. Honestly, if you ask me, Jacobe Johnson has best player on your defense, best player on the team type of talent, type of potential. If he can reach this potential, if he can tap in to any of that potential this year, not even the full potential, but any of it, then you'll have someone that can sit alongside of Eli Bowen come the start of the season that really can lock off another half of that field. Because what we seen last year from Kani Walker, when Kani Walker was allowing Auburn receivers and receivers all year long just to blow by him, Jacobe will not have that problem. Jacobe's fast, he's athletic, and he's competitive. He can go up and high point the ball as well. So you're not going to see Jacobe get beat like that. He is an elite athlete, an A1 athlete. At the very least, he can give you that.
Good. If you don't feel like you can make it, don't do it. Bunnies. Good. 7. You want to go over here now? No, I got it. 8. 2 more. All you got to do is be balanced and explode up with the power. Good. Last one.
If Jacobe Johnson does not get it together, he has a young buck biting at his heels. Courtland Guillory is sensational. He has been nothing short of spectacular throughout the spring. Everyone has been raving about him because of what he brings to the table, that dog mentality. Not only does he have the height at 6'1", but he also has that dog mentality, underdog mentality. He's quick, he's aggressive, and he's just a lockdown corner. When you watch Courtland on film, what you'll see Courtland doing is being a ball hawk. And that's what we need at the cornerback position. We need thumpers, but we also need ball hawks. And that's the thing about Courtland Guillory. He is a blend of all the intangibles that you want at the cornerback position. Now, I'm not going to say that he's a thumper. How many cornerbacks are truly a thumper? Not very many. That's why they are highly sought after. But he's not scared to tackle. He will come up and lay down wood if he gets the opportunity. But most of the time, he just wants to sure up the tackle. And that's what you want. You want a sure tackler. That's it. Don't allow big plays. That's it. If they do make a catch, put his ass in the grass immediately. And that's what you get from Courtland Guillory, on top of the fact that he will go up and get the ball. Once again, man, I keep telling y'all, I love corners who high point the ball. And that's what Courtland gives you. A true ball hawk who will high point the ball and will be a sure tackler, while also mixing in that dog mentality. He plays like he's a few inches smaller, like he's a mismatch in size and length every time he lines up against one of these receivers, even though he has the measurables. And that's what you want. That's what's special about Eli Bowen. Eli Bowen is 5'9" and plays like he's 6'1". because he has that underdog mentality. He has that short man's mentality. Courtland does too. Only thing is he's not short. Gentry Williams, I feel like y'all have forgotten about my boy. Y'all forgot about 2023. That right shoulder injury has made Sooner Nation lose faith in him somehow. As if this young man can't come back and be just as good, if not better, than what he was. Remember, it was a shoulder injury. It wasn't a leg injury. Now, if he had a lower body injury, then we could be talking about the man not coming back and being who he was. But that shoulder injury should not give him much of a major drop-off, if any. Are we forgetting? There were people legitimately talking about Gentry Williams being the best player on the defense in 2023. Are y'all forgetting that? I mean, I'm confused. I keep hearing people saying, Eli Bowen, who's going to be on the other side of Eli Bowen? Allow me to reintroduce y'all to Gentry Williams.
Trick play, the catch by Gentry Williams. T quarterback Gentry Williams says since day one of high school football, he set a goal to be the #1 player in the state.
All right, Gentry Williams, we're going to check and see if you're the baddest dude in Tulsa, Oklahoma or not.
Get up. It's pretty boy time. Hey. Get up. It's pretty boy time. Hey.
Oh, no. No. I'm not going to allow y'all to forget. How can y'all forget a young man that put it all on the line to the point where he broke his shoulder down trying to play for the University of Oklahoma? Gentry Williams is an embodiment of everything that is Oklahoma football. The resiliency from being an underdog. And before one of y'all get in the comments section and say he wasn't an underdog, he was the #1 player in the state, he was a 4-star. Let me clarify, but I don't want to spend too much time on this. He was still an underdog. All players that come out of the state of Oklahoma who should be 5 stars. If Gentry was in Florida, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, or California, he would be a 5-star. But he was not because he's coming out of Oklahoma. Recruiting sites don't value the football being played in the state of Oklahoma, even though we know that those are high caliber and it's a high level of football being played in the state of Oklahoma. Some of the greatest players of all time in college football history, not only in college, in the NFL, like a Leroy Selman, came out of the state of Oklahoma. So just off of that, Oklahoma football should be respected. The amount of players that Oklahoma put out should be respected, and they are not. So majority of the players coming out of the state of Oklahoma have an underdog mentality. Just wanted to clarify that for a second. But Gentry has put it all on the line. And that's what Oklahoma football is all about. And even with all of the injuries, unlike a Nick Anderson, he decided to stick around. He could have easily hit the transfer portal, press reset, wanted a new change of scenery where it was a new viewpoint about him, but he didn't. He decided to stay down until he came back up and re-garnered the trust and respect from the Sooner fan base, which he never lost my respect or my trust. I know what I'm getting out of Gentry Williams. I've been watching Gentry Williams since his freshman year of high school. I know what to expect when it comes from Gentry Williams. He's going to be the same player that he always was. Let's not forget, coming into college, he was already dealing with an injury. He already came off a season-ending injury. So what makes y'all think that he will not recover from this shoulder injury? Let's not forget, it was not that long ago when he was just in Red River Rivalry picking off Quinn Ewers. By the way, for all you Texas fans sitting on Twitter talking crazy about OU last year and all of our deficiencies, Gentry Williams is back. The boogeyman is back. The #1 cornerback is back. So y'all better hope that young Manning is ready to go up against the dog.
Boomer!
Sooner!
We just got better. Love it.
In a space that's supposed to be dominated by men. Never before in college football history have we seen so many weasels within the sport. So BV is truly a breath of fresh air for today's college football. Go ahead and let them know how you coming, coach. Let them know you taking over the ship. You've been the captain, but now you're going to be the crew chief, head fry cook, a little bit of security guarding over here. Hey, man, you're going to do everything. What do y'all need me to do? I can drop the anchor and all. This year, we going to dominate. Way to fire us up, head coach. I love it, my God. That's my head coach right there.
Remember, you're going to earn trust and respect by your performance and your consistency on this practice field. Okay, you're going to earn the trust and the respect of your coaches and your teammates by both your performance and your consistency. Okay, you play like this, it's going to be hard to earn any kind of trust. All right, the best players that any of us have ever coached, and any of you guys have been around, they don't have to be, way up here. As long as they're like this, okay, they show up every day at a very high level. All right, the most challenging and difficult moments, all the habits that we create out here is what we're going to fall back on. You guys got it? Okay, all the fundamentals, all the work that we put together, man, okay, throughout the course of the year, practice, walkthroughs, meeting room, we're going to fall back on that in the most challenging times of the game. All right, make sure that it works in our favor.
So with a man like BV operating the ship for the University of Oklahoma, whether you're pessimistic, optimistic, or all in between in these tumultuous times for the program, just know one thing. When you have a leader of men like Brent Venables running your program, the ship will course correct eventually. And I believe that this is a year to truly be optimistic. If you are not, then you are not hip as to the moves that have been made all off season long. And speaking of moves, when Gerald McCoy asks to be a part of the front office, you do not say no to that. Oh, you, what's up, man? Get this man in the building. Gerald brings value towards whatever he does. He's proven that as a player. He's proven that as a man in life. And Gerald just comes from a place that a lot of these players can relate to. Get that man in the building. That's all I'm saying, y'all. And on another note, what's going on Twitter? Why are we comparing? See, Texas, I understand that both of these young men are freshman All-Americans. Of course, Watson did it, but do not compare him to Jayden Jackson. Jayden Jackson did it in the most unforgiving league there is. The best league for trench play, the SEC. He went in there and proved his value. It's not the same as the ACC. We are talking about the SEC, a league full of NFL players everywhere. We are talking about a league that is built around the trenches. 320 plus elite offensive linemen everywhere on every team. It's not the same, man. Y'all can't compete where y'all don't compare. Let's see what Watson does this year. I think he's a good young player. I wanted him to come to the University of Oklahoma, but unfortunately, he wants to be a perennial loser. So let him go down there to them Shorthorns and get slaughtered like the cattle he has just become. And don't ever compare him to Jayden Jackson, the Polynesian Sarkeesian destroyer, the Polynesian prince. This man is pure dominance. You feel me? As a freshman, he showed y'all that. Big boomer. So stop comparing apples to oranges. One is sweet and one is sour. O-lines taste defeat at the hands of Jayden Jackson's power.
Boomer! We just got better. Love it.
By the way, I didn't speak on this David Stone situation due to one very important reason. I knew David Stone wasn't going anywhere. David Stone loves the University of Oklahoma. David Stone grew up his entire life wanting to be at the University of Oklahoma. That's in his heart. Leaving here would have really torn him. He would have been broken, always wondering what if. Kind of like what you see with KD. KD thought the grass was greener, left, went to Golden State, realized those championships didn't fulfill him, and now he feels like, what if? What will my legacy be if I never left OKC? That's what David Stone would have experienced had he left the University of Oklahoma. While we are currently building something special. Something special is going on in Norman right now, and it's finna shock the world. But that right there was one of the reasons why I knew David Stone would not leave. And then there's the factor of his family being here. He's close to family. Of course, you know, his mom probably wanted him out the state, but he's closer to family. Who does not want to be closer to home?
But there's a development piece that's critical in their babies, but it's boyhood to manhood and everything that goes in between. We have a saying, kill the boy and let the man live. And that's a real thing. And you're born and you look like your mom and your dad, but when you die, you look like your decisions. And so we got to get our guys to really value those decisions that you make daily.
Speaking of the D lineman, OU added a young defensive tackle out of Utah State in a man that goes by the name Ricky Lolohea. I don't know how to pronounce that first name, so I'm not even going to attempt it, but I will say, from what I've seen, Ricky Lolohea seems to be a very strong defensive tackle. And once again, man, he's Polynesian. He comes from that background. We all know how Polynesian players get down on that gridiron. And I don't like to generalize an ethnic group, but for some reason, Polynesian players, they are just elite. They prove it every weekend, and for some reason, they're always underrated. But this young man has power in both hands. He's mean with the bull rush. He has active feet. Ricky Lolohea has something there. This young man could be a real big-time contributor at the University of Oklahoma, especially with him learning under a position coach like Todd Bates, who's all about the details, and getting that technique down. Because Ricky plays a little bit high as of right now, and he needs to work on his technique. He doesn't really utilize technique because he's so powerful. The same thing that we spoke about earlier in the video with those young high school defensive linemen is what Ricky needs to work on. He's going to get that, though, under Todd Bates. He's already physically strong, elite level of strength. You can see it in his tape, but he's only going to get stronger working under the man, the myth, the legend, Smitty. Technique is going to be fierce. BV is going to want him to be an attacker like he loves his defensive tackles to be. And I just see this man being something solid at the University of Oklahoma at the very least. Look at what his family members had to say about the University of Oklahoma and how they love the coaching staff, the environment, and how much of a family atmosphere it is. But most importantly, more than all, God lives within this coaching staff. They seen that God was inside of these people, working through these people. So there's guidance there. People will be more willing to put their babies in the hands of this coaching staff because they know that this coaching staff is going to put them on the right path, which is amazing, man, within itself. You love to see it. I also love to see that we are increasing our Samoan and Polynesian presence. Congratulations, Lolohea. You made the right decision. And you know this because of the production that OU has put out, the wins, the amount of people that are in the NFL, man. You know what you're getting from the University of Oklahoma. You're getting a shot at greatness. And I know it ain't been that great the past couple of years, but it's gonna get on track. And with a player like Lolohea, all we gotta do is keep acquiring high-level talent, and that will surely fix itself, man. Trench play is most important in the SEC, so I love this move. I love this pickup. I love what this coaching staff is starting to recruit and actually lock down. Big bodies coming in the door, developing this talent to be special. That way we can go out and win national championships. Not one, not two, not three. Give us a few. You feel me?
Carolina Panthers select Jay'lin Williams, tackle from Oklahoma.
Minnesota Vikings select Tyrus Thompson, tackle from Oklahoma.
A newest member to the Baltimore Ravens family, Orlando Brown.
The Buffalo Bills select Cody Ford.
The Los Angeles Rams select Bobby Evans, tackle, Oklahoma.
I am shocked that another offensive line from Oklahoma is drafted. Lou Duece going to Minnesota.
The Baltimore Ravens select Ben Powers.
The Kansas City Chiefs select Reed Humphrey, center, Oklahoma.
Recently, Arizona did an offensive lineman from Oklahoma, Marquise Hayes.
Anton Harrison, tackle, Oklahoma.
The Kansas City Chiefs select Wanye Morris, tackle from Oklahoma.
The Dallas Cowboys select Tyler Guyton, tackle, Oklahoma.
Minnesota Vikings select Walter Rouse, tackle, Oklahoma.
Out of the transfer portal, we got another pickup, y'all. And it came in the whiteout room this time. In Jer'Micael Carter, the young McNeese wide receiver out of Louisiana, who's 6'4", 200 plus pounds. And I loved his little video where he committed right here, man. He had the Boosie in the background. Say that I'm crazy. And sometimes I feel like I'm crazy. Hey, I rock with that, man. Shows this young man is a dog. You can see it all over this young life. You can see it in his demeanor. You can see it just permeating off of his face. His aura just screams, I'm a dog. I'm ready to go to war. You feel me? And sometimes that's all it boils down to. The superstars, the best of the best, they just have that aura. They just have that presence. Like, man, you know this dude is special. And that's what I see in this young man. Like, there's that dog mentality that I want to beat you, that killer instinct. I want to be the best. That's what I see just looking at this man. And when you see him on film, even though there's not much production there yet because of where he was at, they didn't throw the ball a lot. It was a poor offense. But when he caught the ball, he went for highlight reel catches. He let it be known. He gonna go up and go get that ball. And I like that, man. That's what I like from my receivers. I like the receivers that want to embarrass you. You get what I'm saying? I like a crisp route running receiver, but I also like those jump ball receivers who want to embarrass you and put it on your head. That's why this next receiver that we got to speak just briefly about, I know we did a minor video on him. We're gonna have to do a real breakdown, but I believe he's a combination of both. I believe he can go up top and snag on you, as well as running a crisp route, because this young man's change of direction is special. His athleticism is special. His hands are sure. And he reminds me so much of a mixture of CeeDee Lamb and one of my personal favorite receivers of all time, and Percy Harvin. And I'll bet my bank account on the fact that Elijah Thomas will be a superstar. As for the biggest pickup out of the transfer portal for the Sooners, of course, in this spring portal, Jaydn Ott from Cal University. What an enormous pickup. And I know this has to be one that Oklahoma broke the bank on. But I don't think that it's just that. I think that that's everybody's viewpoint as of right now. And, you know, with these recruiting sites putting it out there that, oh, you more than likely spent a crazy number on him, I don't think that that's just the case. I believe that Jaydn Ott seen an opportunity to play for an NFL legend, DeMarco Murray, and also looked at it as Oklahoma is RBU. Let's not get that twisted. I told y'all a while back in a video that we are RBU here in Sooner Nation, and the numbers don't lie. The numbers back that up. You feel me? So I believe it's a combination of both. Don't just try to discredit my university as if we got to pay for players to come and want to be a part of this program, this prestigious, historic program. Come on, man. Y'all thinking about the University of South of here. That ain't Norman. In Norman, we looking for dogs. We looking for the ones who want to be here. Texas, they'll pay you. They don't care. Whatever you want, they are willing to give you. And that is the reason why they are not, will not, and cannot sustain success. Success is something that is sustained and maintained off of hard work, dedication, and the willingness to do the little things that Texas is not. They're not developing talent. They're buying it out of the portal. And I know what the Texas fans are going to say. Man, what a crazy amount of hypocrisy to be sitting here talking about a portal running back, and you're saying we don't develop and buy talent out of the portal. Well, it's a difference between adding a piece here and there and just actually buying an entire team out of the portal like y'all have been doing. But anyways, though, man, off that topic, I think it's safe to say that OU had the best portaling out of any team, picked up the pieces that they needed, on top of gaining a kicker for these games that could be very close. We also picked up another quarterback, a pretty decent quarterback out of Moser to be that third string. So things are looking great in Norman. And shout out to ladies softball for becoming SEC champions and the other SEC champions who became national champions in ladies gymnastics. Shout out to Portal Moser. He's proven that name, Portal Moser. Been doing his thing on the recruiting trail as well as doing his thing within the portal. Got a crazy haul in OU men's basketball. It's going to look pretty good next year. Women's basketball, I expect them to be dominant. And what Trey Young has brought to this assistant general manager position looks like something special is brewing on the basketball side in Norman as well. And that's why I say, if Gerald McCoy wants to get in that front office, you get him in there. Because the traction he's going to pull from being a great player is going to help you get a lot of players out of the portal that can really help this team. You feel me? On a bargain value where you don't have to break the bank just because these kids want to know from people who've done it if they have the talent to make it to the next level. They want to know what it takes. So having someone who's already been there, that only boosts your profile a lot more. I know the Jim Nagy hire, amazing. Best pickup of the all season, of course. But having someone who's done that before just boosts that profile, and that's all I'm saying. If Gerald McCoy wants an opportunity to help build this team up, you get him in there the same way OU men's basketball allowed Trey Young to come and be a part of this thing and build it up as well. And you see the benefits coming from that. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about this video. Try to give y'all a longer one. Make sure y'all go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Once we get to 1K, we will be posting every day. So make sure you do your part to help us get to that point. And if y'all want to see the videos a lot earlier, become a channel member. I put those out earlier. So a lot of y'all who are channel members seen this video, at least half of it already. Had to redo it a lot of times because a lot more news kept coming out. So try to make it an hour long, give y'all some value for the time that I have not been on here. Once again, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like, leave a comment. I will respond to everyone. And also, go follow me on Twitter or X at SEC_Boomer. I do follow back. Show your brother some love on there, man. Let's talk, build a community, to speak on things and whatnot. And y'all know I love y'all family. Boomer sooner.